Hello and welcome back to Shakesyear. We are working on Thomas of Woodstock and we get to hear from Thomas again today in Act 1, Scene 1, and we're going to finish up with this scene too, which is fun and interesting. So the scene started out, the whole play started out with a bunch of people thinking that they were being poisoned, including York and Gaunt and Surrey and Arundel. They all thought they were getting poisoned, but it turns out that they weren't, and they tried to brainstorm why somebody might want to poison them, and it might be a jealousy thing or a wanting of land or maybe just they're royals and people have something out for them. So then Thomas came in and he told the Lord Mayor, you need to set a good watch for us because we've got enemies everywhere, and yes, they didn't poison us today, but they might come and stab us in our sleep, so we need to stay safe and protected. And once the Lord Mayor is gone, the conversation shifts to the fact that King Richard is being sort of manipulated by these flatterers that are around him, and they are actually the dangerous ones. It's not that King Richard is malicious or doesn't like or appreciate his uncles. It's that he's listening to these flatterers. And Thomas was saying yesterday that they're not a deadly disease yet. The king can be sort of extrapolated from the situation or pulled out of the situation. But as they're talking back and forth of yeah, let's go get him. Arundel is like, but all of you are royal. Just get rid of them. The way that you would chop ivy off a tree, just get rid of them. And Thomas says, Aye, good cause. As if he plainly said, destroy those flatterers and tell King Richard he does abase himself to countenance them. Soft. Fruit that grows high is not securely plucked. We must use ladders and by steps ascend till by degrees we reach the altitude. You conceit me too? Pray, be smooth a while. Tomorrow is the solemn nuptial day betwixt the king and virtuous Annabeme, the emperor's daughter, a right gracious lady, that's come to England for King Richard's love. Then, as you love his grace and hate his flatterers, discountenance not the day with the least frown. Be ignorant of what ye know. Afore my God, I have good hope this happy marriage, brothers, of this so noble and religious princess will mildly calm his headstrong youth to see and shun those stains that blurs his majesty. If not, by good King Edward's bones, our royal father, I will remove those hinderers of his health, though it cost my head. So he's trying to talk some sense in everybody. He's trying to make sure that everybody's being reasonable about things. He's like, you can't just walk up to the king and tell him that his friends are a bad influence. That's not going to work. The king is so high above all the rest of us in terms of power and clout and all those things. You have to get there gradually and slowly and carefully. He's like, King Richard is marrying Anne tomorrow, and we can't ruin his wedding day with talk of this kind of stuff. So just pretend that everything's normal and pretend that everything's fine and go along with whatever it is. I don't want anybody messing up tomorrow, because my thought is Anne is so wonderful and so lovely, she can start to plant the idea that he needs to be good, that he needs to distance himself from these flatterers, and then we can reinforce that, and by degrees, the same way you would climb a ladder to pick the fruit that's at the top of the tree, we can start to climb into King Richard's good graces and get the flatterers out of there. And he's like, he finishes off with, so help me, if that doesn't work, I will get rid of the flatterers myself, even if it costs my own life. So everybody agrees that this is the good plan. But then York is like, but Thomas, since he's getting married tomorrow, do you think maybe you could wear some nicer clothes than what you normally do? And Thomas is like, what? My clothes are fine. And then Gaunt jumps in and is like, but Thomas, come on. If you're ever going to dress up for something, it should be tomorrow for the king's wedding. And so Thomas is like, okay, fine. For one time in my life, I will wear something fancy. And I'll see you all at the wedding tomorrow. And I will see all of you for another monologue from Act 1, Scene 2, which we will hear tomorrow. I'll see you then. Mwah.